Hackwelder.
And I'm Elizabeth Schuth.
And our project is titled Madam Mystery, How Agatha Christie Transformed the Mystery Genre.
Breaking news! Late last night, Agatha Christie, legendary mystery author, became entangled in a mystery of her own. December 4th, 1926, she disappeared and has yet to reappear. Let's see what folks on the scene have to say.
Did you hear? Someone found her car at the edge of the local quarry. What if she committed suicide? I'm so glad that so many famous detectives, like Arthur Conan Doyle and
Hercule Poirot,
are on the case. I'm sure they'll get to the bottom of this in no time.
Now, the ordinary citizen may think that the best place to start solving a case is with the clues. Mais non. It is the brain, the little gray cells, on which one must rely. One must seek the truth within, not without. In order to start solving this case, I must not only look at the case itself, but at the woman at its heart. So I must take you back in time to when it all began.
I was born in a very happy home. My mother and father, though in many ways opposites, dearly loved each other. I had two older siblings, Madge and Monty. As a child, I spent most of my time alone, as my siblings were both nearly a decade older than me. But I did not mind. I would wander the garden and the woods near my home, with my many imaginary playmates to keep me company. I never went to school, as my mother believed that no child ought to be allowed to read before the age of 8, better for the eyes and for the brain. However, I taught myself to read, and at age 11, I wrote my first poem about the trams near my grandmother's house.
Extra, extra. Read all about it. 500 police and planes continue the search for Miss Christie. Yet her husband, Archibald Christie, remains curiously silent.
This brings us to our first suspect. A bit of background information could be of use. In 1912, Agatha met Archibald Christie, known as Archie by many, who was a Royal Artillery officer, at a dance. They quickly fell in love and were engaged a mere 3 months later.
Agatha, I have to go to war against the Germans, but I will return shortly and we'll be married soon.
We were married Christmas Eve, 1914. Archie soon had to return to war, but I occupied my time serving at the Red Cross. It was here that I gained my extensive knowledge of poisons that I would use later in my writing.
Agatha had always had an interest in writing, but the thing that really sparked her career was her older sister, Madge.
Agatha, I heard that you're writing a novel. I bet you 20 pounds that you can't write a mystery that I can't solve.
Challenge accepted.
This was a major turning point in Agatha's life, as it led to the publication of her first of her 66 successful books. The book that emerged from the bet, which Agatha won, was known as The Mysterious Affair at Styles. It was the first book to feature moi, and it would be the first of many.
Agatha, I've returned home from leave in London, and now you can quit your job and we can live happily together.
Those were happy years. My daughter Rosalind was born in 1919, and in 1920, I got a publishing contract for 5 books. In 1922, Archie and I traveled the world with the British Empire exhibition. It said that while on this trip, I was the first British woman to ever surf standing up.
But not always as happy as it seemed in the life of the Christies. Archie was frequently unfaithful to Agatha, and the two became very distant. In 1926, Agatha suffered 2 tragedies. In April, her mother died, sending Agatha into a deep depression.
I hate it when people are ill or unhappy. It always seems to ruin everything for me.
In August, Archie asked for a divorce, as he had fallen in love with his mistress, Nancy Neal, yet another suspect.
Hey, mister, did you hear? They say they found that lady, Agatha Christie, that everybody's been looking for. My mama says she's in the hospital.
It was true. I reappeared after 11 days of frantic police searching at a hotel in Harrogate. I was registered under the surname of my husband's mistress. My husband and the police claimed that I was suffering from memory loss. But don't ask me about it. I never plan on speaking of the incident again.
Agatha Christie filed for divorce in April of 1928 due to her husband's infidelity. She became a subject of public fascination once again, yet less than 2 years after her disappearance. She also published some of her most well-known works at this time, such as The Murder at the Vicarage and The Murder of Roger Ackroyd.
I decided to get out of England for a bit and took the Orient Express to Istanbul and Baghdad. It was while on this trip that I met some archaeologist friends, and I made the trip a second time to visit them in 1930.
It was on this second trip that Agatha met Max Mallowan, an archaeologist 13 years younger than her.
Agatha and I fell in love very quickly, and we were married a short 7 months after we met. In 1934, we bought our home in Wallingford, and Agatha, always with a passion for real estate, bought our summer home in Devon in 1938.
As Agatha was exploring new places around the world, she also began to explore new genres. She adopted a pseudonym, Mary Westmacott, to begin exploring more romantic and reflective fiction. Later on, during the Second World War, Agatha returned to London to serve in University College Hospital as a nurse. The war also influenced her writing, as she published N or M about a hunt for German spies in 1941.
Excuse me, Miss Christie?
Who is it?
MI5. We have reason to believe that you're getting illegal information from the code-breaking center at Bletchley Park about the progress of the war.
That's absurd. The only reason I named a character in that book Major Bletchley was because I got stuck there on my way from train from Oxford to London and wanted to get revenge.
Likely story.
Agatha Christie's later life was fairly quiet, though she continued to write up until her death. She served as president of the Wallingford Amateur Dramatic Society for 25 years. In 1956, she was named commander of the Order of the British Empire, and in 1971, she was promoted to Dame Commander.
My last novel was published in 1973, Postern of Faith. Several have speculated, based on the vocabulary I used in it, that I was beginning to develop dementia.
Agatha Christie passed away January 12, 1976, of natural causes. She was 85 years old. Her autobiography, which she had been working on for more or less 15 years, was published posthumously. Though she claimed at the time that her greatest accomplishments were behind her at the time of her autobiography's publication, in truth her influences only continued to grow. Agatha Christie is the best-selling novelist of all time, outsold only by the Bible and Shakespeare. At her death, she had published 66 books, many of which would inspire successful book or movie and play adaptations. She also wrote many short stories and plays, the most famous of which is The Mousetrap, which was the longest running continuous play in a single theater until it closed in 2020.
In 1977, we had a poisoning case come through the pathology office. Nobody could figure it out, but then I remembered a book I read by Agatha Christie. The victim had many of the same symptoms as the corpse in the book, and that guy had died of thallium poisoning. Turns out that's actually what happened to our body. I gotta hand it to Miss Christie. She really knew her stuff.
When I first began writing, detective novels were a dime a dozen, but I created something new in the mystery genre. I created a set recipe that most successful mystery novels today follow. A secluded location, suspect interviews, the surprise ending, and finally, a big reveal. My novels were the first cozy mysteries. Although many people have critiqued me for my formulaic approach, today, almost any mystery novel you read will have the same basic setup. And because of my huge impact on the mystery genre as a whole, I'm today known as the Queen of Crime, and my work lives on in the novels that have followed behind mine.